Magandang araw sa ating lahat po. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito naman po sa programa natin na Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. I hope everything is running smoothly. Good day to each and every one of us. And welcome lahat kayo po, mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, mga overseas Filipinos dyan po sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. And of course, ang mga kababayan, kaibigan, kapatid natin po dyan sa Pilipinas. Welcome na welcome dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today is Friday na ngayon po, and February 27, and tomorrow is the last day of the month, February 28 po, no? And then umpisa na tayo yon na Marso or March 1st na naman po sa kailan sa Sunday, no? And we will have a brand new week na naman po, and a brand new month, and that is the month of March. Anyway, pasensya lang kayo po if you can hear some construction or drilling background dahil dito po sa lugar ko po, mayroon na kunting renovation they are doing, and we cannot avoid, but to sabihin natin, ano na lang tayo po, be patient sa sound po. Anyway, I hope, okay, you can hear me clearly also po, despite of the noises po, no? But ang importante yan po, I will give you the mga latest updates regarding sa Pilipinas. And when we talk about the latest updates in the Philippines po, I'm talking about what happened yesterday. And that was the third day of the confirmation charges hearing of Tatay Digong dyan po sa International Criminal Court. And yesterday, we heard from 5:30 Philippine time, Malaysian time, from 5:30 hanggang almost 10 o'clock yun po, no? Ang submission of the marriage from the defense team ni Tatay Digong, which is spearheaded by the legal chief, head nila po, si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman. So, tapos na ang prosecution team. They gave out the merits, no? And kahapon and today, mayroon na naman po today po, the final and last day po ng submission of merits by the defense team ni Tatay Digong. Ano nangyari kahapon po? Nandito ay prepare some video clips para sa inyong lahat, to all of you po, so you will be able to see and hear what really transpired po. So far, based on my observation, I don't know if all of you will agree, but some will definitely disagree. Maganda po ang presentation of substance of the merits ng defense team. No? Very, sabihin natin, although it was long, but may mga laman talaga po, no? May mga laman. But I don't know if Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, no, with his submission of merits, will be able to convince the three judges dyan po sa International Criminal Court whether to push through with the full-blown hearing or trial ni Tatay Digong against ang charges na po, crime against humanity. And let's see po what will happen after tomorrow, because the ICC will be making their decision, and they will announce it po. It will not be forthcoming po, no? It will take time, and then the ICC will make their public decision, will make it public law. But anyway, ito muna po. Let's I will give you ang news galing dyan po sa Philippine Star, sa Pilipinas po, headline nito ngayon sa Pilipinas. Ang heading ng news article is No Smoking Gun versus Duterte for Crimes versus Humanity. Ito po, let me read you a portion of this news article so at least you will just have an idea. Alright, there is no smoking gun that could prove the link between the uniquely colorful and crusty speeches of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and the murders he is accused of. His defense lawyer told the International Criminal Court, or ICC, kahapon po, yesterday, February 26. The defense does not disrespect the soul of any deceased person, nor does it make the light of the loss of life. Any criticism made by us today will not be leveled at the loved ones, Nicholas Kaufman said as he began his presentation on the third day of Duterte's confirmation hearing in The Hague. There is no smoking gun in this case, Kaufman told the three-judge panel at the ICC. So yun po, no? Klarong-klaro po, no? Klarong-klaro. Shoutout muna tayo kay Marco Fabiano, who's also watching. He's from Malaysia. And nasa Kuala Lumpur siya po. Thank you for watching and all the best to you. Godspeed, no? And yung mga iba pa who is monitoring itong sabihin natin programa natin today, Friday. Thanks God it's Friday. All the best to each and every one of you. And stick with this program po because I have several video clips regarding what transpired last night or yesterday po dyan sa The Hague, no? The third day confirmation hearing of Tatay Digong dyan po sa International Criminal Court or ICC po. Alright, now to start with, siguro po, I will start ang presentation of video clips ngayon po. And let me remind you, mamaya at 5:30, this afternoon po, no? Mamaya, there will be the final and last day of the confirmation of charges ni Tatay Digong po, dyan po sa The Hague, ang hearing niya po. So, I will cover it also po. I will, maybe less than 1 hour po, or maybe 1 hour, I will hook up din tayo po sa national media dyan po sa Pilipinas, who is on live ang hearing. But I won't be able, as what I said, since Monday, I won't be able to cover the whole thing or to show you the whole hearing. Dahil it will take 3 to 4 hours po. Anyway, the following day po, I'll make sure that you will be having or you will be given itong mga video clip as what I'm doing now. So, nandito po, let me share with you. Let me share with you po ang sabihin natin. Hold on, let me share with you po ang hearing, no? Ang start ng presentation, submission of marriage ni Attorney Nicholas Kaufman po. Crispin Ermita is also watching. Thank you very much for watching and watch talaga po itong mga video clips that I have prepared para sa inyong lahat po. Nandito na po. Let's watch and listen to this. Hold on po. Okay. Medyo nawala yata eh. Medyo nawala. Anyway, nandito na po. I will share with you itong video clip. So at least you will have an idea po kung what is happening po.
Before I start, I would like to make one general comment. And it's a comment which every defense counsel who appears before this court is obliged to make. So, if the mainstream media in the Philippines and the NGOs reporting on this case today report anything about the defense's submissions, I hope that they will at least communicate the following faithfully. The defense does not disrespect the soul of any deceased person, nor does it make light of the loss of life. Any criticism made by us today will not be leveled at the loved ones of those such as the tearful relative who I saw in the gallery here on Tuesday. The defence's criticism will be confined only to the prosecution's document containing the charges, which governs these proceedings, not what has been reported elsewhere in the media. It's not the defence's role to give an alternative narrative, nor to give an explanation for the facts and figures presented by the prosecution. The defence's role is simply to persuade your brothers that Mr. Rodrigo Duterte should not remain in detention for years to come, simply because the prosecution cannot make out substantial grounds to believe that this individual committed the crimes with which he is charged. Now, Mr. Julian Nichols' confidence openly said the other day that you can ignore Rodrigo Duterte's speeches. Disregard every speech ever made by Mr. Duterte, he said. Throw them all out. There is still ample evidence of the substantial grounds based on the other evidence. That's transcript T4, page 45, lines 5 to 6. Helpful advice from no less than the day-to-day prosecutor in charge of its case. Because we will show that the evidence is not substantial, rather totally inadequate. But in any event, since I can leave no stone unturned, I now turn to those speeches. Now, if there's one thing that I've learned from the domestic media coverage of this case, it is that journalists and their editors have a tendency to fixate on the salacious elements of a person's speeches while ignoring the less interesting parts. And so it was with Rodrigo Duterte. The prosecution has had its opportunity to show you a selection of these speeches and seems to believe that the more they show, the greater the chances of convincing Your Honours to confirm the charges. What the prosecution has not told the public is that it is a document containing the charges which governs these proceedings and nothing else. It has only supplied 20 of these speeches as proof of criminal intent. And as I mentioned in my opening statement, 10 of these speeches, including 2 referred to by the Deputy Prosecutor, actually contain an exhortation to the use of lawful self-defense. Thereafter, we found a further 35 speeches which will be found at tab 9, 11 to 26, 29 to 35, 37 to 41, 43 to 46, 137, and 152.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman po, no? Yun ang info niya. I apologize po, medyo maingay tayo ngayon because ang neighbor natin dito po, they're doing some renovation sa unit nila and we cannot avoid but ganito po, what to do, no? May disturbance tayo sa programa natin. But I hope you can still listen to me po, no? You can still listen to me. Okay, mayroon tayo dito. The next video clip that I'm going to share with you, si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman pa rin, no? And let's watch and listen to this po, no? Ang submission of marriage na po. And it happened yesterday po, dyan po sa The Hague. Yan po sa The Hague. Alright, nasaan na yan? Let's, okay, sandali. Nandito po. And, hold on. Let me share with you. Sandali po. Okay. And, let's go.
And I will now turn to the witnesses themselves, and I will be very careful not to mention anything that I'm not meant to. And I will discuss, first of all, the general reliability. A genuine criminal investigation is meant to be directed at establishing the truth. It is meant to elicit facts in an impartial manner, and not to present witnesses with a preconceived idea, and to seek confirmation thereof, whether it be by way of leading questions or anything else. By this, I mean that the golden thread linking practically every one of the interviews of the prosecution's so-called insider witnesses, who are, for the most part, ruthless criminals, is the a priori targeting of Rodrigo Duterte. In my submission, no real attempt was made to perform this duty of examining exonerating circumstances, or even to establish establish the existence of other actors who might be responsible for the high incidence of deaths in the context of the war on drugs. Most prosecutors will collate the evidence and thereafter analyze it and decide whether to prosecute with a view to obtaining a reasonable prospect of conviction, which is indeed the standard supposedly applied since Mr. Karim Khan assumed the role of chief prosecutor. A prosecutor is not meant to choose his target in advance and then find the evidence to support a preconceived desire. Now, I'm not going to engage on a wholesale forensic analysis of the credibility of each and every witness. I am long enough in the tooth to appreciate that issues of credibility and weight are not normally litigated at confirmation, but are left to trial. This case, however, is unique, and as I have said, the prosecution's star witnesses are self-confessed murderers, and most of their statements were taken by the prosecution's investigators with the assurance of limited use, namely that anything self-incriminating would not be used against them in proceedings at the ICC. Although Mr. Nichols will undoubtedly tell you that these agreements of limited use are not to be understood as the grant of immunity from prosecution, for all intents and purposes, they are. And I am prepared to wager that we will not see even not one of these incriminating witnesses in the dock at this court, nor in the dock at any court anywhere in the world, after they have been rehoused and given protection at considerable expense to the state parties funding this court. I do not think that I would be alone either in believing that there is something morally repugnant or even questionable from a public policy standpoint to shield not only one, but a number of murderers from prosecution at the ICC just in an attempt to nail Rodrigo Duterte. Indeed, in many common law jurisdictions, the use of a self-avowed murderer to convict an alleged murderer would normally entail vetting and scrutiny of the highest order. Those words, if I'm not mistaken, come from the Crown Prosecution Service's instruction manual. Public source. In fact, I would suggest that it would normally only be approved, firstly, when it is considered of more value to have a suspected person as a witness than as a possible accused. Secondly, whether obtaining the conviction of an alleged murderer is more important than the release of a self-confessed murderer. And finally, whether it is likely that a conviction could be obtained without the cooperation of the self-confessed murderer, or a number of them.
Ready for a getaway?
All right, yun po. That's what you heard from Attorney Nicholas Kaufman po, no? Ang submission niya po, submission niya of submission of merits ng defense team ni Tatay Digong. Another video clip that I will share with you po is here with defense team leader si si Nicholas Kaufman nandito, and let's watch and listen to this again. Hold on.
Statement. And this refers to the responsibility that Mr. Duterte said that he would shoulder, promising to shield rogue officers from prosecution. If we may, first of these speeches, and I quote what the deputy prosecutor read from this speech. So that the police is under the DILG. So I have to believe the story of the police, for simply, they are my subordinates, and I am ultimately responsible for their deeds. Now let's look at what the deputy prosecutor didn't state from the same speech. And the order is simply this: go out, arrest them if you can. But if there is no peaceful method of doing it and you are presented with violent resistance, thereby placing your jeopardy in your life, you shoot, well, the son of the bitch. Mr. Duterte's language, obviously, but nevertheless an exhortation to lawful self-defense. Let's have a look at another one of the prosecution's speeches mentioned in their pre-confirmation brief. Once again, on shielding criminal agents from prosecution. I quote, this is, I apologize, PHLOTP 00001127 at page 5. And I quote, but if you do your duty, do not worry about cases. I'll protect you, believe me. That's why I will protect them. And if there's somebody who will go to jail, it's me. I will assume full legal responsibility. Now let's have a look at the exonerating element, which comes right underneath the allegedly incriminating element. He said, just do it right. We have our trainings that you can only kill if your life is in danger. And you are there performing the duty of a law enforcer. That's about it.
Alright, yun, narinig natin ang portion of Attorney Nicholas Kaufman when he started giving up the submission of the merits ng defense team po. Ang prosecution team, tapos na lang po. They started last Wednesday, Tuesday. May konting break tayo Wednesday. And yesterday, Thursday, ang schedule na po ang defense team to give their or to submit the merits nila po. Now, Thursday and today po, Friday, mayroon pa po, no? Last day na po. And we don't know whether si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman will be able to convince ang 3 judges dyan po sa ICC not to push through with a full-blown hearing tungkol sa allegation ni Tatay Digong that allegation of crime against humanity po. No? Kung sa Pilipinas yun, in the Philippines, it is something like arraignment. No? Arraignment po, wherein you will declare whether you're guilty or not guilty po. They will read you the case, the allegations. No? And then the judge will ask you, what is your pleading? Is it guilty or not guilty? The moment you say, not guilty, then mag-umpisa na po ang normal procedure of court hearings po. But if you say guilty, then mas madali po ma-solve ang kaso. Mas madali ang solve ang kaso. So yun po. That is what is happening. And mamaya at 5:30, we will be able, or I will try my best to show you also ang last day ng confirmation of charges hearing ni Tatay Digong po. Anyway, tuloy muna tayo po sa programa natin. And this time around, I want to share with you po ang assessment ni Attorney. Assessment ni Attorney Panelo. No? Attorney Panelo, and he's together with Filipino lawyers po, no? Nag-support kay Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, no? Sila Tony Bello, the former Secretary of Labor, si Magaldea, nandyan po, no? And mga iba pa po. So, nandito, watch and listen to the assessment of Attorney Salvador Panelo po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Your assessment po dito sa defense of
The prosecution theory has been shattered to pieces. You know why? Because the very testimonial evidence and the documentary evidence presented by the prosecution have been thoroughly rebutted by, let's go to the testimonial evidence, contradictions between and among the so-called witnesses, even contradictions with the witness himself or herself. Madalit sabi, puro batay or based on hearsay, double hearsay, speculation, surmises. Pinumas ng documentary evidence, sinabi ko na kanina, yung the very document na pininisinta nila para ipakita yung murderous intent, saka yung tinatawag nila community or conspiracy between the president and the PNP, sumabog din sa mukha nila kasi yung dokumentong circular na sinasabi nilang yun ang command to kill, and lumalabas, the very document itself shows na nakalagay doon, if you have to arrest, you have to do it in accordance with law. Kaya sumabog sa mukha nila lahat. Of course, the prosecution is saying na maganda yung kanilang presentasyon, but they are entitled to their imagined satisfaction of their presentation.
So,
Alright, apparently the way he answered ang question ng mga media dyan po sa DIHEC po, parang he's happy with the performance of Nicholas Kaufman po, no? The way Kaufman presented ang case niya po dyan sa hearing. So, for me, if you ask me, medyo parang satisfied din ako po, no? Maganda, he did a lot of researching and may mga ano talaga po, convincing power si Nicholas Kaufman. On the other side naman po, no, because I also watch ang submission of the merits from the prosecution team po, maganda lang po, but maganda din po. But they are more based na po sa mga statements ni Tatay, mga previous statement ni Tatay Digong, and ang mga ebidensya nila po, yon mga sabihin natin, ang media reports, mga press releases, and so forth and so on po, no? And when they present the certain case or issue po, kagaya ang killing po, and then they are quoting ang statement ni Tatay Digong po, but they don't bring out the whole thing, ang statement ni Tatay Digong, wherein Tatay Digong was saying na, okay, I will support you, kill them if you are also endangered. No? Something like that po. So, but anyway, let's see po. Now, let's see anong desisyon ng ICC, whether i-drop ba itong case, hindi ma-continue, and at the end of the day, si Tatay Digong will be returned back to the Philippines, of which, yun po ang mga Filipinos, that is what we want po, no? From the very beginning, not only Tatay Digong, not only the immediate family of Tatay Digong, who is going against what the present administration did to him po, nagtulong para, o nag-turn over si Tatay Digong sa kustodiya ng ICC, no? Kasi walang jurisdiction po, no? Walang jurisdiction. We also believe na walang jurisdiction because our court, functional tayo dito o dyan po sa Pilipinas. Bakit pupunta pa tayo dyan sa foreign court? But anyway, sabi naman ng korte dyan sa ICC na dapat na po, although your court is functional, but hindi na, no? Ayaw ang korte during the time of Tatay Digong po to entertain itong klaseng mga reklamo, no? And that is for this very reason that ang mga biktima, ang relatives ng mga biktima, they have no other recourse po, but to go to the International Criminal Court, of which wala ng jurisdiction kasi umalis na tayo sa, sabihin natin sa International Criminal Court, no? 2019 yata yun po, no? 2019. Alright. But anyway, let me share with you another video clip po. Ang mga reaction ng mga Filipino lawyers natin dyan po sa The Hague. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this. Sana yun, ha? Hold on. Let's watch and listen to this po. Hold on. And, hold on. Alright. Sandali lang po. And, let's watch and listen to this.
Ang sinasabi niya, may sabi sa mga unang bumisita. Maraming tao sa labas. May mga kasama kasi kung meron, ilan.
Macaldea.
Sa kanila, kumabigsa ng panahon dito kasi hindi malamig sa labas. Ganun yung inamin mo. Sinabi niya. Tsaka alam mo, ito kung gano'ng klaseng tao dyan. Baba na kami ng maglalanding na yung aeroplano. Ano ba ito ang bino? Kami na sa malamig mo. May pera ka dyan. Kwento ka sabi. Meron. Meron akong 550 Hong Kong dollars. Ito. Di mo naman kailangan pera. Kukulong ka naman ako yung mga palas. Sa mga kailangan mo. Yung mga kasama natin dito, bigyan mo ng mga jacket. Kainin mo sa masarap na restaurant. Siya pa rin ang iniisip niya. Yung pa rin ah. Sabi ko, hindi, may kahit ako dito, kung naisipin yun, siya naiisip niya yan. Sinasabi niya, may sabi sa mga unang bumisita. Part of the
Sir, any comment po sa paggamit po ng prosecution ng sariling words po ng former president about his policy?
tinatapos kanina yung words ng dating presidente. Patayin natin, pero tinatapos yung go. Do not go beyond the law. Otherwise, your words ng criminality. Basahin nyo lahat yung mga pinagsasabi. Alam nyo, napansin ko, may lumalabas ang boses ng presidente, nabubuhayan ng Pilipino eh. Iski na boses yung nakaraan.
Do you think, sir, that the parts of the speeches were taken out of context po sa...
Obviously. Kasi they're not thinking.
Ano eh, sinusuppress nila yung ano nasa loob eh. Saka yung mga, bakit yung nagsosona siya? Ito aking one against that. What was the most applauded part of the speech? His policies against criminality, against drugs. And yet, he's being crucified now.
Sir, any...
Para sa akin kasi ngayon yung feeling kayo ko irrelevant ito. Dapat ang concentration ay jurisdiction. Kasi parang pinapangunahan mo na, wala ka pa nga jurisdiction, di mo pa nare-resolve. Bakit nag-impista ka na? Yun ang gusto kong sana marinig sa defense. The question is court why it has assumed jurisdiction and it has set hearings when it has not finally resolved the issue of jurisdiction, specifically the doctrine of principle of complementarity. Lahat ng member ng Estado ng ICC ay hindi sila pwedeng pumasok. Yan ang sinasabi ng batas nila. Makakapasok man sila kung walang kakayahan ang isang miyembro. Sobrang kakayahan po natin pinakita. Pinakulong natin ng libo-libo mga kriminal. Dalawang presidente ang pinakulong natin. Dalawang senador ang pinakulong natin. Isang presidente silipa natin dahil kung nagkamit ng krimen laban sa sampay ng Pilipino.
We know the president, we know his record, we know what he has done during his tenure as president, and even during his tenure as mayor of the city.
What's your assessment of the 30 documents from the
May defense counsel, kami kasi para ano lang kami collaborating or assisting kami. We have to talk to our main counsel.
Expectation for tomorrow. I'm sure Attorney Kaufman, given that this is the last day tomorrow, he will probably deliver what you call polygraph. Ibig sabihin na the best shot that he will be able to deliver tomorrow. He will deliver it. Confident, I mean, the fact that we're happy about what he has said, he presented and reviewed in one day, he will probably make that solution tomorrow even better.
Alright, yan po, narinig natin ng mga Filipino lawyers natin po, mga supporters ni Tatay Digong, nandiyan po ngayon sa ICC, no? Attending or observing, watching, sa gallery sila po, watching itong ongoing confirmation of charges hearing ni Tatay Digong dyan po sa The Hague, sa International Criminal Court po. So far, in totality, I could say na masaya ang mga lawyers, Filipino lawyers po, ang performance ni Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, and in fact, everybody of them, lahat sila po is very optimistic, confident that this afternoon, mamaya po, mamaya, during the last day, Friday ngayon, last day of Attorney Nicholas Kaufman po to finalize, conclude na po ang submission of merits ng defense team. They're very confident, optimistic that he will do a good show later on po. He will do his best. And then everybody's hoping that he will be able, based on all his evidences po, he will be able to convince ang 3 judges po na to drop the case, itong kaso na ito po, and allow President Ferdinand, or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to return back to the Philippines. And yun po ang sigaw ng mga Filipinos since day one po, when President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. allowed ang gobyerno niya po to surrender si Tatay Digong sa kustodiya ng ICCP, of which ang mga Duterte siblings and supporters, they said it was a kidnapping and not a surrender. So, dahil dyan po, galit na galit ang mga Filipino. Hindi lang tungkol sa ano nangyari kay Tatay Digong, kundi, yun po, huwag natin kalimutan, importante ito po, kundi ang flood control projects po, ang flood control projects, huwag natin kalimutan yun po, Ang dami ng mga diversional technique na nagawa. I don't know if this is this is how I look at it po, Maraming mga issues to divert ang mga attention ng mga Filipinos sa flood control projects po. Because wala nangyari ngayon. I don't know what is happening sa flood control projects. Kasi focus na tayo dito po sa confirmation hearing ni Tatay Digong. But anyway, tapos na ito mamaya. And let's all pray na itong case na ito po, itong issue po, will not end up in a full-blown trial po or court hearing po. Sana lang po. Para at least pwede na tayo po look into the other issues sa Pilipinas po. Kasi apektado na talaga ang Pilipinas po. But the other camp, ang kontra sa Duterte po, ayaw nila na mangyari yan po dahil alam na natin. Narating na ang 2028 election and nag-announce na si Inday Sara Duterte her intention to run as a presidential candidate sa 2028. And the other thing, on Monday, umpisa na naman po ang House of Representatives to keep us busy, mga Filipinos po, ang Justice Committee hearing ng House of Representatives tungkol sa impeachment case o complaints against Inday Sara Duterte po, against Inday Sara Duterte. But mabuti lang po lumabas itong storya, itong 18 ex-soldiers, former soldiers po. I was made to understand na mayroon 16 daw yan po, former Marine soldiers and 2 Army soldiers po, Bale, 18 sila po, wherein sila mismo sa affidavit nila po, they came out and said that they took part, a very important role in the deliveries of luggages full of allegedly cash money. And it was allegedly delivered sa mga bahay ng mga politicians natin. Politicians, when I say politicians po, that includes allegedly in the affidavit of these 18 soldiers employed, allegedly employed, reportedly employed by fugitive Saldico, no? Mga security escort dito ni Saldico po, they delivered ang mga maletang-maleta or mga luggages po full of cash sa bahay ni President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, reportedly po, no? And of course, sa bahay ni former Speaker Martin Romualdez, other politicians, other congressmen, other senators, and top government officials po. Yun po. Now, we don't know whether on Monday, itong House of Congress will also look into this allegation, into this expose, whether they are going to conduct a probe investigation itong 18 sundalo po. But Malacanang keep on saying na it is a lousy script, there is no truth, this is fake news. And we don't know what will happen po, no? Sana lang po, for me, I believe fake news or not fake news po, lumabas na 18 ito po, whether we like it or not, why don't we go for an investigation? Huwag lang masabi tayo, fake news yan sila, fake news. Why don't we investigate? See? It is worthwhile investigating because we are talking about trillions of taxpayers' money na wala sa atin. And lumabas si Oli Gutesa, isa lang siya po, but something happened to him. We don't know where he is now. Ngayon, 18 ito po. 18 ito. Hindi naman pwede 1, 2, or 3, they say, we are telling the truth, and then the rest, susunod-sunod lang sila. Siguro hindi naman ganyan po. Maski ng ganyan o whatever, kailangan po mag-investigate. Investigate po. Huwag lang tayo po lagi magsabi fake news, you know. Who are you to say it's fake news? Why don't we investigate? Mayroon naman tayo dyan po sa Kongreso, dyan po sa Senado. May committee natin po. May committee dyan to investigate. Kagaya ang sabihin natin, itong Blue Ribbon Committee. Sabi ni Chairman na Ping Lacson, sabi niya, may questionable ang mga figures ng allegations nila po. If you doubt, why don't you investigate? Rather than just forget it and say it's fake news. Hindi naman gago mga Filipino. No? We are not Filipino for nothing po. Alam namin. No? Alam namin po. Hindi lang basta-basta sabi ninyo, fake news. You think the Filipinos will believe? When you say it's fake news, ibig sabihin namin, oo, fake news. Hindi naman siguro ganyan po. Hindi naman bobo lahat ng mga Filipinos po. I'm sorry to say that or to use that word. I'm sorry. No? But, nasaktan din ako po. Biktima din kami dito, mga Filipinos sa Malaysia. No? Whether we like it or not, whenever we go home, when send money sa Pilipinas po, we are paying taxes. Even ang passport namin, ang travel tax, mabuti lang itong travel tax, they want to scrap it already. Yung mga, mahilig magsabi dyan ng fake news. Kasi dahil news ito sa gobyerno po, you don't dare to say fake news. Siguro kung galing ito sa kabilang kampo, sabihin na naman ninyo, travel tax yun, fake news yun Grabe naman. Don't be like that po. Use this one po. Matadino tayo. Matadino tayo mga Pilipino po. Maybe kayo, medyo konting siguro, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Anyway, okay, tuloy natin itong programa natin. And ngayon, let me share with you po, no? Ang, si Atty. Harry Roque po, lawyer din yan po, no? International lawyer din yan po. Meron siya mga komento, mga statement, no? And nag-assess din siya po ang sitwasyon dyan po sa hearing, ng confirmation hearing of confirmation charges of hearing ni Tatay Digong po since Monday hanggang today po, no? So, mayroon dito, I have a video clip po I want to share with you po, wherein he was explaining to us po ang side ng prosecution team. Sa defense team sana siya, pero but he is explaining to the public po ang mga issues raised by the prosecution team po, last Monday and Tuesday. Nandito po, and I will share this with you, and sandali po. And let's watch and listen to this po.
Patunayan ng prosecution para magpatuloy ang kaso sa paglilitis. Walang elemento po ng crime against humanity at 3 counts of crimes against humanity ang hinahin nila laban kay Tatay Digong ay meron pong mga patayang nangyari or murder, at itong murders po ito ay isang systematic or widespread attack laban sa mga civilian population sang-ayon sa isang sistema ng estado or organizational policy. Now, ang sabi po ng prosecution, itong war against drug daw ay isang state-directed campaign, at ito ay merong kaalaman at intent ng pinakamataas na opisyalis na ang presidente. Sinasabi nila na si Tatay Digong daw po ay may pananagutan sa tinatawag na indirect co-perpetration. Yung indirect co-perpetration po ay sinasabi nila yung conspiracy na nagkaroon ng common design, yung common agreement ay patupad ng war on drugs, at ito nga ay sinang-ayunan at pinatupad ni Tatay Digong at ng kanyang mga co-perpetrators na pinangalanan, o 8 pong pinangalanan, kasama na po si Senator Bato, Senator De La Rosa, si dating Secretary Pete Aguirre, si dating NBI Iran, at dating PNP Chief Albayalde, at yung isa pang PNP Chief na namatay na. Now, ang sabi po nila, si Tatay Digong ay guilty nga for indirect co-perpetration or as part of a conspiracy. Siya daw po ay nag-order. At ang ebidensya pinakita nila ay meron daw sila mga testigo sa DDS na nagsabi na ang Tatay Digong ay nasa taas ng organisasyon ng DDS, na lahat ng papatayin ng mga tao na ginagamit nila para pumatay ng tao ay kumukuha ng code signal kay Tatay Digong bago sila pumatay, kasi Tatay Digong daw ang nagbibigay ng armas at nagbibigay ng papuya at garansya na hindi sila mapaparusahan. Now, ang iba pang ebidensya na hinain ng prosecution laban kay Tatay Digong ay yung kanyang mga public speeches. Yung speeches habang siya ay sa Davao na talagang tutugusin niya ang mga drug pushers sa Davao, at yung kanyang sinasabi sa eleksyon na kung siya ay nanalo bilang presidente, yung ginawa niya sa Davao ay papatupad niya sa buong Pilipinas, at kinakailangan talagang pulbusin at ubusin ang mga drug pushers at drug addicts sa Pilipinas. At sinasabi ng prosecution na po dito sa mga speeches nito na sinabi hindi lamang sa labas ng mga institusyon, inulit din ng presidente itong mga ganitong salita doon sa loob mismo ng Kongreso at Senado matapos siyang manumpa. Nasasabihin lamang ang pawang katotohanan. At ang sinasabi nila, pananagutan ni Tatay Digong ay meron pong chain of command influence sa lahat ng mga kapulisan. Now, ang prosecution, ang ginamit na ebidensya, yung police operational reports, yung alleged reward system, yung internal communication, yung mga komunikasyon sa loob ng PNP mismo, may mga testigo di umano, including insider accounts, at saka yung mga statistical pattern of killings. Now, sinubukang establish ng prosecution yung pattern na pare-parehong modus operandi, yung paggalaw ng PDS at saka yung mga kapulisan di umano matapos maging presidente si Tatay Digong, yung sistema ginagarantihan na kung sino man ang magpapatupad ng war on drugs ay hindi mapaparusahan, at saka yung pagkakaalam nila ng target nila yung mga sibilyan. Pagdating sa jurisdiction, ang sabi ng prosecution ay bagamat nag-withdraw na at hindi nakasapi ang Pilipinas sa Rome Statute, yung mga krimen ay nangyari habang ang Pilipinas ay kasabi pa ng Rome Statute, at saka yung jurisdiction daw ng hukuman ay naging kumpleto bago pa magbitiw ang Pilipinas bilang miyembro ng ICC. Sinabi naman ng depensa na unang-una wala pang jurisdiction na nga ang ating ang ICC sa Pilipinas dahil nagsimula ang paghingi ng abiso para magpatuloy sa preliminary investigation sa pangalawang taon matapos gumunting ng Pilipinas sa pagiging miyembro ng ICC.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin na si Atty. Harry Roque po, no? And now, I hope you have a clear picture na po what is happening dyan po sa The Hague, no? International Criminal Court, ang confirmation of charges hearing ni Tatay Digong or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Later on, at 5:30, ang rushing na naman po, no? At 5:30, mag-umpisa na yan po ang final and final day na po ng confirmation of charges hearing ni Tatay Digong. And let's watch talaga po and listen anong mga statements, mga ebidensya that Attorney Nicholas Kaufman will be presenting po so that he will be able to once and for all convince the three judges that there won't be any full-blown hearing tungkol or kay Tatay Digong. And if that will happen po, Tatay Digong will be returned back to the Philippines. We don't know what will happen kasi may prosecution team and defender ang defense team. Let's see po kung paano. But the way how I look at it po, medyo mabigat itong defense team natin po, no? Defense team ni Tatay Digong. So, hindi na tayo magtagal muna dito po sa programa natin nito, The Real Talk with Nico, on a Friday, February 27 na po. I will be preparing again for another live program natin po dyan sa, we will try to see ang online coverage ng ICC hearing. So with this, si Nico Fabian would like to apologize. Kanina when we started, may mga konting noises tayo po, no? Dahil dito ako sa Kuala Lumpur and mayroon tayong konting renovation. So narinig natin yung mga grilling sound. So I have no other choice po but I have to do the vlogging. Maski mayroon itong disturbances po, no? Dahil I am looking at the 5:30, sabihin natin, hearing ng ICC. So with this, Nico, once again would like to say, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. I'll see you in my next episode. Godspeed, bye, and I love you.